Contact us to avail the combo offer of General Studies and Public Administration optional with 20% discount.
Hello everyone, good morning. Am I visible and audible clearly? Okay. So today we are going to cover the Hindu newspaper analysis dated 16th of August 2021. Okay. So today we are going to cover important articles of the day from the Hindu newspaper. You can ask me your questions if you have any query, any doubt during the paper itself. Okay. So now let us quickly see the topics that we are going to cover during the day. Okay. So today it's going to be a quick discussion where we are going to talk about the first article that says CJI. CJI stands for Chief Justice of India. So Chief Justice of India recently ruled that sorry state of affairs in lawmaking. Okay. So we will understand about the viewpoint of the Chief Justice of India, and this was covered in page number 1 of the Hindu newspaper today. Okay. If we talk about the second article, it is about government of Karnataka. So Karnataka is going to launch 13 Amrit schemes. Okay. So we will learn about these Amrit schemes and we will talk in details about these schemes. Okay. So it is covered in page number 5 in the Hindu newspaper for Delhi edition. Then if we talk about the third article, it is from international relations. Okay, topic. So this particular article is with reference to the international affairs. So we will talk about this particular article that says Israel condemns Poland's restitution law. We will understand about restitution. Okay, we are going to understand about new law that was passed by Poland. Okay, so we will talk in detail about this one. It is covered in page number 11 of the Hindu dated 16th of August. Then the fourth article is about 6,808 dead in rain cyclones in 3 years. Okay, so recently it was reported that more than 6,000 people have died in rains and cyclones. Okay, in the last 3 years, and so it was covered in page number 8 of the Hindu. If we talk about the next article, it is about tracking the highest battlefield in the world. Okay, so we will talk about which is the highest battlefield in the world, the Siachen glacier, and like why people are tracking the highest battlefield in the world. Okay, so we will talk about a specific project, and this topic is important for prelims examination. It is a factual topic. So it was also covered in page number 1 of the Hindu. Okay. So now let us quickly take the first topic for the day. Okay, so if we talk about the first topic, it says CGI rules sorry state of affairs in lawmaking. Okay, and the gentleman that you can see over here, he is the Chief Justice of India. Okay, his name is Justice N.V. Ramana. Okay, so N.V. Ramana is the Chief Justice of India. He said that now it is a sorry state of affairs. There is a lot of ambiguity in laws. We don't know for what purpose they are made. They are causing a lot of litigation and inconvenience to the people and the courts. Okay. So what does the CGI mean by the statement that he has recently made? Okay. You might be knowing or you might be aware of the recent way the parliament is passing the laws in its both the houses. So there are many occasions in recent years where the Parliament of India is not having proper debate and deliberations before passing a law. So most of the laws that are being passed through the Parliament are passed in hasty legislation. They can be considered as hasty legislation. So the government is not conducting proper deliberations, proper discussions on different aspects of a particular law before it is being passed. Okay. So like in most of the cases, the title of the law is not in sync or it is not coherent with the content inside that legal paper, inside that draft law. So that's why the Chief Justice of India has rightfully said that there is a lot of ambiguity in the way the law is being passed, in the way the deliberations are being conducted, and in the way the documents are being presented in the Parliament of India. So many people are not aware for what purpose a particular law is made, and at the same time it is leading to high number of cases being filed in the courts of law, in High Court as well as in the Supreme Court. So when higher number of litigations are encountered on a day-to-day basis, what happens? The pile-up of cases increases in the court of law, in High Courts as well as in Supreme Court. But apart from this particular issue is being aggravated by this situation where like we have fewer judges in Supreme Court as well as in various high courts in India. Okay, so there has not been appointment, judicial appointment from September 2019. It's been almost 2 years that appointments are not being done as per the recommendations by the collegium. So the Chief Justice of India has highlighted this particular state of affairs. He has said that laws are not being passed properly. Okay, deliberations are not being held, and at the same time he has highlighted this particular aspect that pre-independent India, during the pre-independent India, the lawyers played a greater role, not only to the nation but also to the parliamentary affairs, because lawyers has sacrificed a lot. They had sacrificed their profession, they have sacrificed their personal lives for the sake of the nation, for the cause of the nation. And lawyers like Mahatma Gandhi and Jawaharlal Nehru, they were the prominent nationalist leaders. They were the prominent freedom fighters for during the India's freedom struggle. So Justice Ramana has rightfully said that lawyers earlier used to play greater role in the society. They used to awaken the masses. They used to bring the notion of the right of the people to the people. So lawyers had greater role to play at that point of time. But now if we talk about the lawyers, they are restricted to their profession. Okay, so they are not as much active as they used to be during the freedom struggle. So Justice Ramana said that during the freedom struggle, or when the Parliament of India was constituted for the first time, their deliberations used to be in detail. People used to talk about different provisions of the constitution before a particular article was enacted in the constitution. So there were a lot of delegations, there were a lot of discussions before a law was passed. And if we talk about this particular recent highlight by the Chief Justice of India, the Chief Justice of India said that that recently what has happened, the government of India has cleared a bill. That particular bill is Tribunals Reforms Bill of 2021. Okay, so it says that Tribunals Reforms Bill of 2021. The name of the bill suggests that the tribunals or tribunals are being reformed. Okay, but what the bill has actually done, the bill has abrogated, the bill has diluted 9 appellate tribunals in the country. Okay, what do we mean by appellate tribunals? I'll make you understand about this thing. Okay, so this particular bill, which is Tribunals Reforms Bill of 2021, has sought the abolishment of as many as 9 appellate tribunals, including the Film Certificate Appellate Tribunal. Okay, despite the opposition charge that the legislation undermined the independence of the judiciary. Okay, so what has happened? Earlier, let's consider there is a tribunal. Okay, the tribunal passes an order, and if that tribunal passes an order, it is not necessary that both the parties or multiple stakeholders in a particular case are happy with the with the judgment of the tribunal. So at a higher authority used to exist, which is known as appellate tribunal. Means let's consider there is a tribunal at level A, and if this particular tribunal has passed an order, this order may not be resonating with the associated parties, with the stakeholders. So they had a way to go to a higher tribunal, higher authority, which is placed at this particular level, which is known as appellate tribunal. So this particular law, which is Tribunals Reforms Bill of 2021, that was recently passed by the Parliament, it diluted or it abolished, okay, 9 such appellate tribunals. So now whatever judgment is being passed by a lower tribunal, like will not be heard by those tribunals that used to exist earlier, that were being abolished recently. Okay, so that's why the Justice Ramana has said that, like, in recent years the parliamentary deliberations has reduced to a greater extent. Now the government is not deliberating at minute level for every provision of a law before it is being passed. Okay, you might have recently noticed that within an hour the government has passed three bills or three laws within an hour from both the houses. Are you understanding? So earlier for a single law there used to be hours, there used to be not only hours, like months to be passed, because like minute deliberations used to happen. But that particular thing is being undermined. It is not being given proper or due consideration by the government. Okay, so this is the context in which the Chief Justice of India has recently held his meeting. So yesterday it was the Independence Day for India. It was it is the like 75th Independence Day for India. It is also known as like Diamond Jubilee. Okay, so here what happened here. So this is the highlight that the Chief Justice of India made, that then the debates and discussions in the House were constructive. Okay, they could elaborately discuss the legislations taking place. Laws used to be discussed and deliberated. Unfortunately, over a period of time, you know what is happening in the House. In the absence of quality debates, courts are unable to fathom the intent and object of the laws. Okay, so this was the highlight that was made by the highest judge of the country, the Chief Justice of India. So here, like, it actually highlights to a point that even the judiciary is not happy with the way that legislations are being passed from both the houses of the parliament. Okay, so that was the first topic for the day. Now let us take another topic. Okay, so this particular topic is about this particular topic is about the government of Karnataka. Okay, so Karnataka is going to launch 13 Amrit schemes. So this is a factual topic. It is important under government schemes and it is important for the prelims examination. Okay, you just need to know about this particular scheme. Okay, so you know that Karnataka is one of the most prosperous states in India. It is a southern state in India, and like if we talk about the state of Karnataka, so the development within the state of Karnataka, like intra-state development in the state of Karnataka is not uniform. Some places in the state of Karnataka are highly developed, while other places in Karnataka are not as much developed as some places in Karnataka. For example, if we talk about Bengaluru, so Bengaluru is considered to be an international city. Why it is considered as an international city, or why it is considered as a most developed district in the state of Karnataka? Because in the district of Bengaluru, like we have headquarters of various corporations in India, and at the same time multinational companies had set up their regional offices for regional Indian office in Bengaluru. Okay, so Bengaluru is considered to be far more developed as compared to other regions in Karnataka. Okay, so there are multiple areas in Karnataka that are not as much developed as Bengaluru. So the government of Karnataka is putting forward its viewpoint that, like, we want other areas of Karnataka to be as much developed as Bengaluru. Okay, so now they want to highlight on equitable development of all the regions in the state of Karnataka. Okay, not only Bengaluru, like if you see the coastal region in the state of Karnataka, like Mangalore, so that is also far better developed as compared to other regions. Okay, so they want to bring parity how the development is happening in various places in the state of Karnataka, and for this purpose the government of Karnataka is going to pass 13 Amrit schemes. What are the names of those Amrit schemes? We are now going to talk about them. Okay, so So these programs, the programs that the government of Karnataka is going to launch, they will cater to rural and urban development, health, sports, farming and social sectors, and they are estimated to cost around 720 crore rupees. Okay, so what are those 13 special programs? They are Amrit Gram Panchayat. So this is the first program, Amrit Gram Panchayat. Then we have Amrit Rural Housing Scheme. This is the second program. Then we have Amrit Farmer Producers Organization, third program. Okay, similarly Amrit Nirmala Nagara, okay, fourth program. Then we have Amrit Anganwadi Centers, fifth program. Then Amrit Self-Help Micro Enterprises, sixth program. Amrit Community Development Program. Amrit Health Infrastructure Upgradation Program. Then Amrit Skill Training Program. Amrit Startup Program. And Amrit Sports Adoption Program. So these are the programs that are being launched by the government of Karnataka. Okay. And besides this particular thing, the state will take up Amrit Mahotsava Nagorothana, okay, Amrit Mahotsava Nagorothana as part of the third phase of Chief Minister's Nava Nagarothana project in the future. Okay, so these are the programs that the government of Karnataka is going to launch. You just need to remember them. You just need to understand that, like, there is, you know, like they are going to bring parity in how the various regions of the state are being developed. Okay, so this is about that thing. It is a factual topic. It is with reference to government scheme and therefore state government scheme. Okay, so with this, now let us talk about another topic. Okay, this topic is about, you know, Israel condemns Poland restitution law. Okay, this topic is important under international relations and it is important for the UPSC mains examination. India is not a direct stakeholder in this particular issue, but like indirectly it also affects India, because like when we talk about Israel, so India maintains a very high or like very good relations with the state of Israel. Okay, when we talk about international relations or international law, countries are being referred as states. Okay, so when we talk about Israel, I can talk like, you know, state of Israel means like, you know, Israel as a country. Then Poland is also a state, like, you know, under international relations. Okay, so Israel has recently condemned, okay, a restitution law that is being you know, that was recently passed by Poland. Okay, and Israel maintains a very good relation with India. In what sectors? Like India has good relations with Israel in the, you know, defense sector, because we import defense technologies, okay, from Israel. And at the same time, okay, at the same time, what India does, India, you know, tries to, you know, bring the technological know-how from Israel in various sectors like agriculture, water harvesting, and like, you know, water the reuse, like, you know, in various sectors, India, you know, takes help of Israel. So that's why India is an indirect stakeholder in this particular issue. Okay, so why Israel has condemned a law that was being passed in Poland? Poland is a different country, Israel is a different country. Okay, so this particular issue dates back to, okay, World War II time. You might have heard about Holocaust. Okay, you might have heard about Holocaust, you might have heard about World War II. So like what has happened, there were many people okay, who had survived the Holocaust that was being caused by Hitler in Germany. Okay, many people have survived, but many people have died in the Holocaust event. Okay, those people who had survived the Holocaust event, they have fled to, you know, nearby countries. They have also fled to Poland. Okay, so like after coming to Poland, those people, you know, set up their own places to reside. They have set up their farmlands, they have, you know, built their houses, they have started doing business over there. But like, you know, what has happened, similar to India, like in Poland also the government, you know, keeps on changing frequently. So earlier what has happened, there was a government that was, you know, like that was having a regressive view. Regressive view means it was a conservative government in Poland. So they had passed a law that like all the states, like, you know, all the places, I mean like houses, businesses, buildings that were being built by the survivors of Holocaust. These survivors of Holocaust were not original citizens of Poland. they had relations with Israel, but like they were being persecuted in the state of Germany, in Germany, okay. So those people had taken shelter in Poland. So their, places were being taken away by the, authorities in Poland. So they had earlier passed law for that purpose. And the survivors of Holocaust had been fighting till then, to reclaim their estate, to reclaim their land, to reclaim their businesses, to reclaim their properties. Okay. Recently what has happened? There was a government change in Israel, and at the same time, there was a government change in Poland also. Okay. The government has changed in Poland also. So after then what has happened? Okay. After then what has happened recently? Okay, recently the Poland authorities or Poland government has passed a law, and and this particular law restricts the rights of Holocaust survivors or their descendants to reclaim property seized by country's former communist regime, and announced it was recalling its top diplomat in protest. Okay, so what has happened? Okay, so on one hand, let's consider, on one hand we have Israel, okay, and on the other hand we have Poland. Okay, let's consider these are two countries. Okay, earlier what has happened in the country like Germany? Many Jews were persecuted. These Jews were, the nationals or citizens of Israel. So these Jews who were being persecuted, they fled to nearby countries. They started residing in Poland, and there, they had, set up their businesses, houses and all. But like there was a communist regime in Poland. So they had, seized the properties. They had seized the properties of, Holocaust survivors. Okay, they had seized the properties of Holocaust survivors, and now their descendants, means like their newer generations. Earlier, their grandfathers, like the generations now that are living, their grandfather, father or great grandfather might have, might have survived the Holocaust event in Germany. Okay, so their properties were seized by the communist regime in Poland. Okay. So this now, so that was earlier, but like people were filing petitions in the courts in Poland. But recently the new government has upheld this particular thing, that particular law that was being passed around 30 years back. Okay. So although the law that was recently passed by the Poland authorities, okay, those laws do not specifically mention about Holocaust, and they do not mention about this particular thing. They do not mention about World War II and Holocaust. But like they in effect give approval to the seizure of property by the communist regime. Okay. So the move ignited a diplomatic crisis between Israel government and the nationalist conservative government in Poland. Okay, so that's the thing. Earlier, like the Prime Minister of Israel was Benjamin Netanyahu, but the Prime Minister has changed in Israel. Okay, and now the Polish President is Andrzej Duda. So earlier they signed a law which addresses the apportions done by the communist government that ruled Poland from the end of the Second World War in 1989. Okay, so this particular government that has come into existence in Poland, they have upheld the rule that was passed by a communist government in Poland. So that's the issue. Okay, and a biggest supporter of Israel is United States of America. So United States of America and Israel, they are putting pressure on Poland to take back this particular law. And in protest, Israel is calling back its diplomat from Poland. Okay, the highest diplomat that was posted in Poland, the Israel has called back, and Israel had to send another diplomat, but Israel has held back that particular diplomat also from going to Poland. Okay, so this is the thing. Okay, so 30 years ago this particular law was passed, and now this particular the recent law that was passed, it upholds that administrative decisions. And now this particular law says that it establishes that any administrative decision issued 30 years ago or more can no longer be challenged, meaning that the property owners who had their homes or businesses seized in the communist era can no longer get compensation. Okay, so now international pressure is being built on Poland, okay, so that like they should come over this particular restrictive law. Okay, so that's all about this particular topic. Once you read again, you'll be able to understand it like easily. So with this, now let us move to the next topic for the day. This is the fourth topic. Okay, so this topic is about disaster management. It is important under UPSC mains examination. It talks about disaster management. Okay, so disaster management is a very small topic under general studies paper 3 of your mains exam. Okay, so there you need to understand about what is disaster vulnerability, right, and what are different stages of disaster management. Okay, so there are different ways how we manage the disaster. You also know that like recently India has been hit by multiple cyclones. Okay, you might have heard about names of cyclone like Yas, Hudhud. Then we have multiple cyclones, and they have devastated properties in across various coastal states in India. Coastal states like West Bengal, Bihar, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana. Okay, these areas were hit severely. Okay, Kerala was also hit by cyclone and by similar nature disasters. So recently there was a report, and that particular report talks about that 6,808 people died, okay, in rain and cyclone in 3 years. Okay, within a span of 3 years time, more than 6,800 people died. What it means, like every year at least 2,200 people died because of rainfall and cyclone. Okay, so the government should have proactive measures so that they can reduce the number of fatalities because of these disasters. We should have disaster preparedness plan, and we should implement it beforehand. Okay, so these are the things. We already have created the disaster map. Okay, like we know like which areas are mostly affected by disasters. Okay, like we have disasters like landslide, we have disasters like cyclone, we have disasters like earthquake. Okay, we have similar nature disaster, and we have done hazard zonation mapping. Okay, this particular topic is known as hazard zonation mapping. Okay, hazard zonation mapping. So we already know like which places in India are affected by which particular disaster, but the government of India has not been taking proactive measures to reduce the fatalities or loss or damage to properties. Okay, so recently what has happened, we are going to understand about the context in which this particular topic was there. So this topic says West Bengal tops the list with 964 fatalities caused by flash floods and landslips. Okay, so nearly 6,800 people lost their lives in the country over the past 3 years due to hydrometeorological calamities such as flash floods, landslips, cyclones, and West Bengal has recorded the highest deaths among all states. Okay, so West Bengal is a state that has recorded the highest damage because of this particular issue. Okay, so that's the thing. The details were provided by the Home Ministry in response to a question by the Congress MP from Tamil Nadu. Okay, so name of the MP is mentioned, and this particular details like what has happened. So there was a question in Lok Sabha. So one of the MP from Congress party, they have questioned the Lok Sabha that like how many people have died in last 3 years because of disasters, because of hydrometeorological disasters. So from Lok Sabha they have provided response, and in that response they have provided the data that are mentioned in this particular article. Okay, so this is a very important topic. So as per the reply, the country recorded these many deaths, 6,808 deaths. So like among this, okay, so if we talk about, if we bifurcate the deaths, so 2,400 in 2018-19, okay, 2422 in 2019 to 20, 1986 in 2020-21. Okay, so these are factual information. If you want to note it down, you can note it down, you can reproduce it while writing an answer related to disaster management. So it is going to give you an additional point that like you are able to quote statistics related to disaster fatalities in India. Okay, so according to the ministry, hydrometeorological calamities and hazard include flash floods. It is very important for you to note down the name of these hazards. Okay, note down the name of these disasters. They are flash floods, cloud burst and landslips. Okay, so these are the things. One is flash flood, cloud burst and landslips. So these hazards are causing lot of fatalities. Multiple people are dying because of this particular thing. Okay, during the monsoon period, April to October, mainly in Western Ghat terrains, from April to December, including the phases in the northeast monsoon, incidents occur in almost all landslip prone areas, some of which are disastrous, leading to loss of lives, and the this particular reply has pointed. Okay, so what are the areas that are being affected most? The regions that are affected most are coastal areas in India. Okay, and at the same time northeastern regions are also affected. Like if we talk about the state of Assam, so Assam is every year affected by overflowing of rivers because of flood. Okay, so sometimes what happens, the water in the Brahmaputra river flows much more than normal level, so this leads to floods, and flood leads to death of many people every year in the state of Assam. Okay, and Western Ghats is also affected severely because of it. Okay, so the analysis points out, this particular analysis points out that in most cases these are triggered by extreme rainfall events or cloud burst. These types of fatal landslips events are common almost every year, mainly in the Himalayan states, in the Western Ghats and Konkan areas. It is important for you to note down these areas also that are affected by these calamities. They are Himalayan states, Western Ghats and Konkan areas. Okay, so other than West Bengal, Madhya Pradesh recorded 833 deaths, followed by Kerala 708 in the same period. Okay, so these are the states that are being affected by these disasters. One of the state is West Bengal, then we have Madhya Pradesh, we have Odisha, we have Kerala. So these states are affected by these hydrometeorological disasters. Okay, so in your free time you can read this particular article to understand more about it, and at the same time see like why people are affected so much, because the fund allocation is very low. Even if the fund is allocated, the fund is not dispersed. Like they have allocated fund that we are going to give this fund, but like disbursement of fund is not happening on a proper time. Okay, so fund allocation is in the poor state of affairs, and because of it also the disaster preparedness plans are not being implemented on a timely basis. Okay, so this is all about this particular topic. With this, now let us talk about another topic for the day. This is the fifth topic for the day. Okay, so this topic talks about tracking the highest battlefield in the world. Okay, so what is the name of the highest battlefield of the world? It is Siachen Glacier. Okay, Siachen Glacier is the highest battlefield of the world. Why it is highest battlefield? Because like it is located at a very high altitude. Okay, this particular region stays frozen round the year, and there Indian government has stationed its troops. Indian government has stationed its armed forces, and these people are going to trek. These people are going to visit the Siachen Glacier. And who are these people who are going to visit the Siachen Glacier? These are disabled people. These are people who are differently abled. Okay, so differently abled people are going to track the highest battlefield in the world. Okay, and they are tracking it under a project. What is the name of that particular project? The name of the project is Operation Blue Freedom Triple World Records. Okay, So this is the land world record expedition, part of Operation Blue Freedom Triple Records, being undertaken by Claw Global. Okay, so Claw Global is the name of the agency that is conducting this particular expedition operation. Means it is sending, you know, these people who are differently abled, okay, who are disabled physically to some extent, to trek in the, you know, Siachen glacier. So it is important for you to note down this particular, you know, name of this particular project. What is the name of the project? Operation Blue Freedom Triple World Records. Okay, this is the name of the project. So they are going to, you know, do this particular, you know, mountain trekking in 3 stages. What are those 3 stages? Okay, those selected will undergo the 3 stages of, you know, acclimatization and training at Leh in stage 1, Siachen base camp in stage 2, and North Pulu in stage 3. After which the final expedition team would be selected. Okay, so when was Claw Global set up? Claw Global is an agency that is conducting this particular expedition operation, or that is conducting the tracking operation. Okay, so Claw Global was set up in January 2019 by Major Vivek Jacob. Okay, he is a retired para special you know, forces officer with the aim of teaching life skills to adventurers and people with disabilities. Okay, so how high, means like at what altitude the Siachen glacier is located? The Siachen glacier is located at 15,632 feet high. Okay, so that's the thing. So apart from this, all other things that are mentioned over here, they are the factual details, but like you should remember the name, Operation Blue Freedom Triple World Records. Okay, it is being conducted by Claw Global, and under this, you know, the differently abled people, especially abled people, are going to trek means they are going to do mountain trekking to the highest battlefield of the world, which is Siachen glacier. Okay, so that's all that I had to discuss in today's, you know, current affairs. Apart from this, there are, you know, few editorial topics also in the editorial today. Those topics are mostly related to the independence of India. Some of the topics are with reference to the historical events, you know, leading to the independence of India. So those like many of those things have been covered yesterday through video, you know, video things by the Prime Minister of India and various things. So today what you can do, you can either watch, you know, some of those videos that were covered yesterday, or at the same time you can read those editorial topics. Okay, they are mostly related to how India got independent. Okay, and most of the article talk about, you know, the Independence Day also. There was an article that talks about like what was Mahatma Gandhi doing when you know, when like India was getting independent on 15th of August. What was the activities that the Mahatma Gandhi was doing? So on that particular thing, they have written an elaborate article. Okay, so these are the things that were that are covered today. Okay, so thank you so much everyone for attending this session. I hope you have a good day ahead. And so you guys who are online now, if you have any questions, any queries, you can ask me. So I think Rohan is there, then there is another person, Siva, right? So you people, if you have any queries, you know, on the topics that I have covered today, you can ask me, or any other topic that you may have read already in the Hindu, you can ask them also.
Well, CJ has given the statement on the passing of bills without discussion. It is we need to take as a criticism, or we need to take a wake up of the people in India on that particular bill pass.
See, what has happened here, the you know, it is in the common knowledge of people that the government of India is not doing proper deliberations before they are passing legislations in the highest, you know, like in the Parliament of India, in both the houses. Okay, so many laws are inappropriately named, you know, the title are different, but the content of the laws are different. Okay, so it is leading to huge number of litigations. People are, you know, filing huge number of cases in the courts of law. it is leading to pile up of cases in the courts also, in high courts and supreme courts. And at the same time, government is not clearing the appointments to these courts. The Collegium of India has recommended some people to be appointed in different courts, but the thing is, the government of India is not clearing those appointments. So there is lesser number of judges who are working, and at the same time, a huge number of litigations are coming. So that's why the Chief Justice of India has highlighted that the litigations that are being passed, okay, means like the laws that are being passed, they are ambiguous in nature. Okay, he has highlighted these points yesterday, on the Independence Day, in the Supreme Court of India itself. Like, it was not during a proceeding, it was during a meeting with the judges and the lawyers.
So, can you take examples of river tribunals now, sir? Based on this statement, can we take as ambiguous on the tribunals?
Yeah.
River tribunals.
See, like when we talk about river tribunals, so what happens when we talk about river tribunals? For river tribunals, the government of India has set up like tribunal, and they have withdrawn the authority from even from the Supreme Court of India. They said like Supreme Court of India also do not have their jurisdiction over the interstate water tribunals. Okay, so the tribunals tribunals are also taking years and years to resolve those issues. Okay, they are not able to resolve the issue amicably, and in many cases the states are at loggerheads with one another. Okay, so there is a specific article in the Constitution, I guess it is article 262 if I am not wrong. Okay, so you can check that particular article. That article talks about interstate river water tribunal. Okay, so these tribunals are mandated with resolving the issues with reference to interstate water disputes. Okay, so when water is flowing from one state to another state. Okay, so because the water is limited in these rivers, the state from where the water is flowing, they use up most of the water. They set up dam, they set up irrigation projects and all. So that leads to water crisis in the other state, the lower riparian state through which the river flows. So those lower riparian states are filing cases in the courts of law, but those cases are coming under the jurisdiction of the tribunals. Okay, and tribunals are setting up expert bodies. Those expert bodies include the engineers, they include the expert people from the judiciary also, engineers, and there are multiple people. So but when they give judgments on these things, the judgments are not given on a timely basis. By that time so the water crisis becomes severe. Okay, so recently what has happened, the Supreme Court of India has also intervened into these matters, and they have directed different states to release few cusecs of water to other states. Okay, so that's the thing. So when we talk about like interstate water disputes, so it is an ongoing issue. There used to be multiple interstate water tribunal for every case. For every water dispute, there used to be a separate water tribunal earlier. So recently the government has taken some measures. They have reformed this particular issue. They are now trying to set up a uniform single tribunal that will be able to adjudicate the disputes that are happening between different states because of water. Okay, so here now we need to understand that like when someone goes to the court of law, that is litigation process. When people are going to a tribunal, okay, so tribunal is a process that, they take into account both the parties, and like judgments of the tribunal are quasi judicial in nature. Okay, they are binding. Okay, but like when people have grievance against those tribunals, they had higher authorities to approach, and the last authority is the Supreme Court of India. Okay, so in any case in India where the decision is not taken is not approved by both the parties, if a party is still aggrieved, they still have a way to go to the Supreme Court of India. So that's the thing. You can mention about tribunals also. Recently the government has abolished 9 appellate tribunals. Okay, so name of all the 9 appellate tribunals were not mentioned in this particular article. Okay, it was not mentioned in this particular article. But like you can search more, you may come across a PIB article, Press Information Bureau. Okay, so PIB, like if you come across an article from the Press Information Bureau that may talk about those tribunals that are abolished by this particular legislation. Yes. Any other question? Shiva and Rohan?
No.
Okay, that's all right. So it was nice talking to you people. Thank you so much for attending this session. I hope you have a good day ahead. Thank you.